just ask you, what was it like working with me beforehand? So what was your life like?
So busy, always busy, always on the go. I'm always the last person on the list. And I were very much, I wouldn't say a dieter because I didn't really diet, but I suppose a starver of a grab and go, run past in the garage, grab a bag of crisps because it's only 200 calories, so that's acceptable. And then, oh no, now I've eaten the bag of crisps and a chocolate bar, so I must skip dinner. And then I'd have my tea, and then, you'd start the whole cycle again the next day.
Mm.
Very much just grab and go, really.
And
I've
how did you been doing that for? Like that cycle?
probably since really I'd lived here in this farm, like for the last 2 years, kind of everything's been so busy. And before that, before COVID, I went to the gym religiously. My nutrition were great, I were good, and I had time then. But when we moved in here and times changed and everything changed, it just became a thing. And it just, I mean, I cook. I always cook an evening meal. But obviously when I'm home alone through the day, it's easy to skip food, or it's easy to think, oh, I don't really want to cook for myself, and then get so starving that you just raid the sweet drawer.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did that cycle make you feel?
Awful, terrible, because I'm a scale watcher. I've only just allowed myself, I'm sure I told you, allowed myself a new pair of scales. And you change shape. I'd stopped going to the gym, although I did restart that a couple of months ago. But before that, not going to the gym and watching yourself change shape from going to the gym all the time and gaining weight, and your clothes getting tighter, it's a dreadful feeling.
Mm. And we almost describe it, and I've been there as well, where you try and measure things, right? Because everyone's like, oh, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That's the
Yep,
way to do it. So you clearly knew about calories because you were like,
yep,
oh, I just had 200 calories, so I would
yeah.
so you are already aware of the value of calories and stuff like that. But still, you said your clothes are feeling tighter. Like, just describe that a bit more to me. Like, did you feel comfortable in your clothes, things like that?
No, no. So I'd become very much living my farm clothes, and the thought of having to get dressed into what I call real clothes, to go out anywhere were a mammoth task, because nothing in my wardrobe fit me particularly well anymore. I wouldn't buy anything other new because I didn't want to creep up any sizes. That were just a no-go for me. So it became a matter of you'd stick on a pair of jeans and a nice baggy top, and cover those sins.
And then what was the driving force? Like what changed wanting to work with me? Had you got to a point where you were like, this is enough? Or what was it?
So I suppose for me, being so busy and like having to have, so I need energy. I need energy. I need to be able to keep going all the time. And I was sick of being in that cycle of not wanting to put any clothes on, not wanting to go out, and not wanting to do things. And like I've got holidays and things coming up, and I had an holiday coming up to Ibiza, and the thought of getting back in a swimming costume were painstaking. And as much as I had sort of learned to accept I'm getting a bit older and I'm probably never going to look like I might have done when I went back to the gym previously, I were okay with that. But I didn't want to be that unhealthy person. So it was a matter of something had to give, something had to change, where I got back into a habit of eating proper foods.
Mm. And what was the faith process of jumping in and joining with me? Like, just being completely honest. Obviously, we're all skeptical when someone says to you, Emma, I can help
Yes.
you. Like, because you read so much now online and social media, and everyone's got the new trick, right? Everyone's got the
Yeah.
new thing. And obviously, with me, this was a new. I blatantly said to you, Emma, this is a new thing for me. I've been doing it for years myself, but I want to help more people. So, what was that little bit in you that was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it. But were you still unsure in the beginning?
I were unsure, but seeing how you look and how you live and what you follow, I watch your social media a lot, and I've been seeing a lot of your posts and seeing things you've done. So there had to be truth in it for it to work for yourself. I know one thing don't work for all. And I'm not gonna lie, that first week for me, like the amount of calories and eating that amount of food was a big struggle. Like, and I'd get to dinner time, I'd be thinking, Christ, I can't physically eat all this food. It's just not But actually, this week, when I've really stuck to my calories and, you know, been totally on point with protein, I've actually lost 2 pounds. So proof in the pudding, really, it's there.
And I think what happens is more of the metabolic process is you've been starving yourself for such a
Yeah.
long time, which is what a lot of us do because we want to be skinny, but
Yeah.
we also want to have energy and we're female, so we have a million things to do that we drain ourselves. So what happens is we starve ourselves, which means we slow down our metabolic rate. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of us. So yes, that first week was like, Emma, you need to eat more.
Yeah.
Obviously, the beginning, you might think, oh my God, I'm now putting on weight. Like I
Yeah.
feel full. I remember we had a moment where you were like, I put on weight, I'm freaking out. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And yeah, just describe what was going on there and kind of like how I helped you through that.
So for me, that was the point of, oh my God, I have to quit. I have to give up. I cannot eat all these calories. It's not going to work for me. I can't just keep doing this. And then obviously chatting with you and being able to be completely honest without the feel of judgment, you know, of coming back of me of, oh yeah, you need to reduce your calories further. You must be in a bigger deficit. You must be doing something wrong, which is what I've been told before by gym trainers. You know, when you're on their plan and you're not losing weight and it's not working, they say, well, you must be doing something wrong, what you're eating, what you're not eating, and almost question your truth of what you're saying on MyFitnessPal. Whereas with you and being able to say, actually, I'm having a really bad day and I've done this and I've done that and I can't physically eat all these calories and keep that. And you putting things back into perspective were a big, big thing for me. And then being able to keep going and believe that it was gonna work really, really helped. I think that was the biggest thing overall for me, the fact that I could be honest without judgment.
Yeah. And this is the beauty about the difference I feel about what I'm offering compared to traditional methods of like whatever fat loss, hormone balance is that it's not a quick fix, but it's also not a secret recipe, and that I want you to be human. I
Yeah,
actually want you to have these moments of, oh my God, Nika, what does this mean? What's happened? Because as you said then, not only do you get to understand this is a whole new way of looking at your body, but we are understanding what's going on with your body, which is now your metabolic rate has increased, which means you can eat more food and actually lose weight, which
lose weight.
to
Yeah,
our brain doesn't make sense because we're like, but I've always been told to starve myself.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor, out of the way.
Hi,
No,
Doctor, you coming in?
God's sake. Honestly. Doctor.
Doctor, you can more than happy sit in your mother's lap if you want.
Oh, come down here. That's
Good, good. And then just, I know it's been like 6 weeks, which goes by really quickly,
yeah.
but how have you found the lessons and how have you found the material and the learning experience?
I found them really useful. I like the fact that we had it on video to be able to draw back to if we wanted to. You know, I've rewatched some videos more than once and kind of, or even just listen to them, you know, as I'm going around doing jobs. And I like the fact that it was enough without the overload, you know, and I like the fact that it were focused on one sort of thing each week. And I think one of the things I really loved is it was never about being on a diet. It was something that is sustainable for life. We can't live life on a permanent diet. It's wrong. It steals your life when you do that. So that were a real big thing for me as well out of the course. Like I didn't have to be on a diet. I could go out for tea and I could go out and have a drink and I could do all them things without guilt. So that were huge for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like, it still makes me go a bit because I'm like, oh my God, this is
It,
amazing.
yeah, it is, and it's. Do you know, I have done so many courses and I've had personal trainers and been almost forced into that regime of you must live in this calorie deficit and you must not live. You mustn't go out for your tea. You can't have a Chinese on a Friday night with your family because you're on a diet and you mustn't do that. And I've been sucked into that thing of your whole life revolves around what you put in your mouth and what you're doing in the gym, and that's just not healthy. You
And
know.
also, if you don't mind sharing your age and the difference as well within your body, right? Because I know myself, I'm a different shape to my 20s and my 30s. And I know
Yeah.
if I kept training and eating the way I ate in my 20s, I wouldn't look like this in my 30s and my 40s. So there's a difference.
Yeah, so I'm coming up for 41 next month. And I suppose before COVID, what will I have been? Don't know how long ago COVID was, 36, 37 maybe. And I went to gym religiously and I had a great shape. But there were times at the beginning where I'd only just started going to the gym and my go-to to be skinny where I would have been Paul. I had no shape. I was thin, drawn, unhealthy looking. So like now, I do appreciate I'm changed massively in shape and I'm going to change further as obviously I go through menopause, etc. And I suppose for me now, it's more about being healthy and strong and helping my body get through the older ages rather than just being slim.
And what I loved about you throughout this journey is the little wins that you have had, which are not little wins, they're actually huge wins.
Yeah.
Like just describe kind of sweets on the table and the partner sweet situation that you would have had before.
Yeah, so Daniel, my son, brought some sweets home randomly yesterday. Jellies. I am the biggest fan of jellies in the world, or used to be. And he come in and he went, "Do you want these, Mum? Half a bag of sweets?" And I said, No, I don't, thank you. I said, I don't want to eat those. I said, Hey, I'm on a bit of a journey at the minute and I'm not interested in eating them. And he said, Are you sure? Because you really like these. I said, No, I don't want them. And he left them on the side. Now, normally in my diet world, they'd have been on the side. I wouldn't have wanted them, but I'd have stolen one and then two. And then before I know it, I'd have thought, I better just eat it because then it's gone and then I can start again tomorrow. I didn't want them. There was no desire to eat them because I was quite happy to have my protein shake or my protein yogurt or something much more nutritional value. And the garage thing for me, going in the petrol station always involves a packet of crisps. Always. I love crisps. And now I can actually go in the garage and walk by the crisps and not even. I used to do a thing where I'd go be on the way to the garage and I'd be thinking, no, I won't get any crisps when I go in there. Oh, no, I won't do that. And before you were, I had a pack of crisps in my hand, Monster Munch, and I was leaving the garage with my Monster Munch. But now I can go in, I'm quite happy to pick up my bottle of water and walk back out after I've paid for my petrol. No crisps needed. So that's a really good feeling for me.
Just makes me so happy because I totally resonate. My mindset before was restrict, motivation, willpower, don't give in,
Yeah.
From hopefully, feel free to share what you've learned. But for me, I now look at it so differently where I'm like, God, all the stuff that's in that
The badness. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. And I think the more you start to feel the benefit of doing, the health and the plan and eating well, it's easier to make the better choices because the crash you're going to feel after that nice piece. So yeah, okay, it tastes nice for that split second, but actually then that leads on to that extra packet of crisps or the extra something, and the crash you feel afterwards is rubbish. So that's a huge thing.
And throughout this, Emma, have I ever told you to restrict yourself?
No, never, which was so huge. I hand on heart, the amount of times I have been told by trainers, honestly, in the direct words of, no, you must not eat a Chinese on a Friday night because, you are on plan. You must not be on plan. And when I texted you that morning and said, oh my God, I'm going out for tea and what should I do? And it was like, just choose the best you can. There was no restriction. There were no laws, no rules. And it was okay to go out and have that meal, which is huge because I told you before, I got to a point where I wouldn't have even gone out for tea. I'd have just said, no, I can't. I'm on a diet. Which, how boring. We're only here once.
I absolutely love that. So thank you. Yeah, I remember that story. So I was like, oh, she's got to share that. And then just to close off here is, I feel so awkward asking this, but how would you describe working with me? I know you've mentioned little bits about it, and then would you recommend me to other people?
Yeah, 100%. So I'd recommend your course, and I love the fact that it's all science backed. There's not just a quick flick through the internet of the latest fad diet. And I think the biggest thing for me for recommending you, I found it great working with you, nice and easy, always accessible, always there with not just an answer, but a plan and support. The support is huge, being able to actually, like I said, be honest and say, I've done this, I've had a really bad day and I might have eaten 6 chocolate bars. there'd be no judgment, just that reset and just hang on, how we're going to move back forward, which I think for most people would be an eye opener. And I think for me, the videos, I like videos. I like being able to watch things. I like the little printable things afterwards, you know, and being able to just sort of go away and look back at it and do those things. And it's definitely something I will continue doing in what we've learned so far. I wouldn't just give up. Whereas when your diet's over, what does everybody do? You flick back to old style life and you gain everything you've lost. So it's, yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much. I don't know why I'm sweating. Are you sweating?
I'm more concerned that I've got to look at myself on this video.
No, you look awesome. Honestly, you're actually like, you can tell how genuine you are, and you can also tell that you're beaming. Like you're like, this is
Yeah,
all.
and I have to say, I feel like my face looks less puffy these days. This week, really, for me, I've seen huge changes. I don't know whether that'd be something to do with my metabolic rate finally changing. But this week, and I feel overall slimmer and less bloated this week.
And how much have you lost in total?
So I think when I started, I think was at 10. We're not going to put this on the internet, are we? I think we're at 10.6 as a starting weight, maybe even 10.7. I'm 10 stone 1 this morning. So I think I've lost £6 in total. And, you know, I've had those bad days in between that. I had the holiday at the very start of it. So I had 2 days of drinking and eating before I started, which, you know, were massive. I've been out for tea probably 5 or 6 times over the course of this course. I've had barbecues. I've still drank socially on weekend. I've restricted nothing and still lost £6, which is just massive, isn't it? And that £6, I've sort of been on a yo-yo really since probably last year, trying to shift it, literally. So last year in October, we went to Tenerife, and I was so determined I was going to lose the weight and be just under 10 stone before I went. It never happened because I did the age-old, I'm going to starve myself, and then I'm going to get too starving, and then I'm going to eat anything in sight. Never worked. So I'm hoping now I might be able to get to that 9, 10 before I go away this year.